welcome to Behind the Curtain, episode number 32. I'm Joe White, and you are...
I know, I'm not Katie.
Wait.
What happened?
Where is Katie?
I don't know. I'm Kristen Collins.
Well, Kristen, actually, Katie is ill today. Unfortunately, cannot make tonight's episode, so we have Kristen Collins coming in to rescue the day.
Right.
Literally last second, calling you up, saying, please come in. Please come on
Yes.
down.
And I said yes.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. So how did you find out about ACT and how did you get involved with it?
Actually, I just got on your mailing list, and then I saw an opportunity to audition for some of the plays that you had last fall.
Yeah.
And, or this spring, rather. And so I went and auditioned, and you guys were great, so I just joined.
And you've been hooked with
I've
this
been hooked
group
ever since. Yep.
So you played a role in our past show.
Yes, I played...
in 2 Acts of Murder.
That's right. I played a Jinglette number 5.
Did they go in height order in that?
I don't know, but I like to think I'm number 1 in your hearts, so...
Jinglette number 5. How was that experience?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was really great. It got me the opportunity just to be back on the stage and performing with like-minded folks, and really fun opportunity too, so I had a blast.
So you would encourage people out there who are interested in coming out and helping in any capacity?
Absolutely. Any capacity. You don't have to have experience. We'll show you how to do it, and right?
It's fun.
It's fun.
And it's a great group of people, believe me.
It's a blast. It really is a blast.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing this fall. Speaking of our shows, do you know what we're doing this fall?
Yes.
What
we're doing,
What?
so I'm told, is we're doing this really cool concept called Gate 19. And from what I understand, it's like little vignettes, little scenes that are at a terminal at an airport.
Yes.
And so how the lives of these folks intersect at an airport. Is that true?
That is true, but in the rehearsal part, you mentioned that I came up with the idea. You didn't do that
Oh,
when we were live on TV.
I totally forgot.
So that's okay. That's
but
okay.
did you?
No.
You did come up with that concept?
Well, no. It is. I always have a theme of the show.
A theme, okay.
But what I love about what we do is we get together and we go to a lot of our sponsors. Like tonight, after our show tonight, we're going to be filming. We're going to be going to, where are we going?
Going to Honto.
Honto's is a great restaurant that supports us.
Yeah,
they have
love
ACT
them.
night. We'll all be there. And we get around and we eat a lot of their good food, and they have some beverages.
Yep.
They have karaoke, and we sit down and we write ideas down about this.
Yep.
So I think
And
the
that's
concepts...
how this came about.
And we just get there, and I have the concepts, but everybody gets involved. It's really a group effort. So, and you've come up with a lot of good stuff. We can't reveal some of the things because we want to do that when we're on stage.
Right,
But you came up with some really good stuff, like, remember like this one?
Yeah. My script
And
that
that one?
you've
And this one? Those
that
two?
you've read all the red marks through, that one?
Oh, that's right. You did submit a script, right? Yeah. Let me find it.
Okay. Well,
No, it's got an opportunity to be there.
as well on stage.
Yeah, it's got a shot. It's got a But but actually it is fun to sit there.
It was just fun to try, even though I've never written a script full.
Yeah,
actually a scene from end to end, so it was really fun to submit it and see what happens.
But what is great about it is that a lot of people do that, and then we review it as a group, and we ask each other questions. What do you mean here? What do you try? And sometimes you don't know. You're writing something down, you don't know, but it's kind of cool. So one of the things I love about the new material that we write and create is everyone gets involved. The writer, but you have to let go a little bit. You can't just say this is how it's got to be.
Perfect as
you have to let it go.
Right, so okay.
So we're gonna talk about that at Honto's, but we're gonna make sure.
And
she
you're
has
gonna
a
sing.
couple
I know you're going on stage. You're gonna do your song.
What is that song? Do you know what the song is?
You've lost that loving feeling. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I've lost it. I can't find it. I'm looking for
Hopefully
it
you'll
right
find
now.
it at Honto.
Hopefully I'll find it at Honto.
Yes, just in time to be on stage singing it.
Yes.
Okay.
So we talked about the fall show.
Yes, the fall show.
And we know it's called Gate 19.
Gate 19.
We know it's in December.
It's in December, and the auditions are in September.
Oh, you're good. You were really good.
I'm
I like
pretty good
this.
at this. Yeah.
So when is it in September? Is it going to be where?
It's
the open call.
September 12th. Open call at 7 o'clock here.
And where's here?
We're at WACA TV.
Yes, 200 Butterfield Drive.
You know me.
So, but if you are interested in, they can email us at ashlandcommunitytheater@gmail.com. And just say you want to come down and read, and we go through the scripts. And I mean, I remember doing 2 Acts of Murder And the cast that we're going to be talking to in a few minutes, I remember we had that script and we went through the auditions and we cast people and we pretty much changed the show almost completely because everyone else got involved.
Yeah. So it's great. You can sort of be organic in that way. But what I like about the open call is just come down, right? If you have any inkling at all about being a part of this group, just come down and see what it's about and audition. It's not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
No, we're not
it's
scary
actually
people.
a really warm and welcoming group.
Yeah.
So come down.
And we not only need actors, we need people to help put on a show. It takes a lot of people to do it. We have a great technical director and a great stage manager, but they need a lot of help, and they're willing to educate and train and become part of the technical group.
So you don't have to have experience,
Nope,
is that what you're saying?
Not at all.
They'll train you on how to do that.
Not at all.
Another opportunity.
Yeah.
There's so
Great.
many opportunities.
And what I like about it is the things that we're doing here is it's Ashland Community Theater. It's not just about putting on the show. It's about the whole process about going from the writing, the open calls, the auditions, the rehearsals, and then to Tech Week and then putting the show on. But there's also the ACT nights at Hontos and Stones and many of our other sponsors that we get to go out and be with each other. So it's a really good spirit, good community.
It really is.
It's fun.
Yeah. Thank you for having me be part of it.
We love it. We love it. And thank you for so much for coming down and being part of our ACT family, as we call it.
Thank you.
So only a couple of things I want to touch base before we get to what we're doing tonight.
Okay.
Katie and I just came back from Minnesota.
That's right.
And we were very fortunate enough. So I'm hoping that Barbara can insert some of the wonderful pictures that they took of Katie, myself, and Barbara winning the awards from the Hometown Media.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Katie and I won that for writing, directing, and producing the show called Therapy Sessions. And it was very nice. We went out to Minnesota with Barbara. We had a fantastic couple of days, and we celebrated. It was a great ceremony, and great met a lot of good people in Minnesota and a lot of great people across the country that do the same things that we do. So it's a lot of similarities. And then from that, Barbara came back and said, we're going to be doing a project that we want us to film that Barbara's producing. And Katie's going to direct, and Connor Donovan and Todd Carter are all part of it. It's called, we have to do a scene from Back to the Future.
Ooh, cool. Which one? Which scene?
Scene 41, for those who are not remembering. It's the scene that Doc Brown is hanging from the clock tower trying to get the connections together. And McFly is sitting in the DeLorean, and he's gonna try to get the thing out. So Barbara was, we were very fortunate to get Connor Donovan to play Marty McFly. I mean, we had to beg and plead him because he's a shy guy, and I don't know if he'd ever come out of that shell, but he is going to play Marty McFly, and that's going to be great.
Good.
And then
thanks,
I unfortunately cut my hair, and I'm going to play Doc Brown.
Oh,
so
good.
I'm going to use your hair. Just can I borrow your hair?
Sure. Just give it back.
Give it back? Okay, you heard it. It's on film. We got that. Okay. So that we're filming in the next couple of weeks in the center of Ashland. I don't know exactly. Barbara's working out all the logistics. I think it's either going to be on the top of the library, if we can get the permission, or we're going to be filming right in the center of town by that green clock in the center of town.
When is this going to happen?
We're filming August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Okay.
So this may already be airing around that time, but yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It's going to be fun to see, and it'll be kind of neat, and going to get a little Ashland on the map, because there's about 45 or 50 different companies around the states.
Well, I love that it's about the clock tower, because aren't.
Go figure. Ashland's the clock
clockers.
town, the clockers.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to do.
Perfect. Nice job.
Let's see. So we've done that. Okay. Usually Katie keeps me. Okay. What we're going to do tonight? What are we doing tonight?
We are interviewing the cast of The Connection.
And The Connection was Act 1 of our spring show, Two Acts of Murder.
Yeah.
And we'll have the actors here.
I feel like you adapted that.
Yes.
From a.
It was a story.
From a story, and we'll talk about that.
Talk about that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Very good.
And we'll have the cast here. All of them should be here tonight. They're all scheduled to be here. So we have those seats set up. We'll be talking to them. Outside of that, I think, other than watch the calendars on Ashland Community Theater and WAIT, which is We Are All in This Together. And you can go out and support many organizations in town. I think last month we had Nadine Heaps on here. We talked about our sponsors and how much they mean to us. And not only they contribute their time and location and efforts. They promote our programs when we're not even there. They're telling people, go see the ACT show, go see the next show. So tonight we're actually going to go to Hontos, but in September we've got nights out in Stone's Public House, in Hontos, in Mexico City, Taqueria, a lot of places around
Ashland Ale House, right?
Yes, so we will continue supporting our sponsors that way.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So with that, why don't you sit back, relax, and watch The Connection, and then when you come back, we'll have the cast here and we'll interview them.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
It's irritating. He said he'd be here at 2:30. It's now 2:34. It'll be 2:30 as well.
And me, but I can't wait around all day. I've got a ton of things to do. What was that?
It sounds like the elevator.
Maybe it's Riker at last.
Well, that's certainly not Riker.
Riker, Mr. Riker, I came here to meet him. Is he here?
Seems like we all came here to meet him.
All of you.
Yes, all of us. Evidently, all of us are here at 2:30 to meet him, and not me. Is this office 2804?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, check. I'm gonna check and see.
Make sure. Darn thing's stuck.
What? Let me see that. That is odd. It can't be locked. I came in and then I went out to check the number and the door opened then, so it wasn't locked then. It must be stuck somehow.
Yeah, it's stuck all right.
Hey, you came in last. Did you lock it?
What? Me? What for? Homes with no exits.
Ergo, no fire escapes.
Why no fire escape? There has to be a fire escape.
It's probably out there in the corner.
Which we have no means of getting to.
It's Saturday afternoon.
Well, I can't stay here until Monday.
You're not going to be able to open the door that way. Listen, I've got places to go. I've got to... What are you...
Trust.
Whoa, wait a second here. No reason to panic, man. What is your name?
There isn't much we can do except wait. Or shout for help.
All right.
Help! Help!
Nothing. There's nobody in here on a Saturday afternoon.
I can't wait around for 1.5 days, for heaven's sake.
What do you think will happen?
Maybe he'll let us rot here.
Well, you know how she died, right? Yes, I remember. It was an explosion.
It was a bomb. Time to go off. I think the killer promised to defuse it when they got the ransom,
But he didn't.
or she did.
You're not suggesting that I could have done such a disgusting thing.
Or me?
I'm not suggesting anything, but Oliver Deacon must think it's possible, or he wouldn't have all 5 of us here. It's not just me and Togo.
It's awful, all of it. Being confined here by a madman, not caring if we all die.
What are you staring at, Patricia?
It's the clock.
It has the wrong time.
Well, I know it's stopped, but it's still ticking.
Hey, what do you mean it's?
Listen, it's ticking. I think it's a bomb.
A bomb? It can't be a bomb.
The man is mad!
Shut up! We have to think this through!
How much time have we got?
How the hell do we know that?
How much time do we have? That's asinine.
We've got to defuse it.
Defuse it? What? Me? You? Hey, you behind the chair there. You look like a person who can defuse bombs.
Do I? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. I don't know anything about diffusing bombs, no matter how you think I look. Someone would know. The same person who did the kidnapping, the one who placed the bomb where the girl was.
One of us, you mean?
Yes.
door, of course. I don't think there's another way in, is there? Well, sorry about the state of this old office. I really couldn't arrange a better place, it being Saturday afternoon. Did I miss? I'm a bit late, sorry about that. But now that I'm here, let's get settled. I would like to jump right in.
Listen here, Riker, or whoever you are. We've been waiting here since 2:30 for you.
And you are, well, this has been interesting. Now I have all the information that I need, so do you know what I'm going to have to do now? I'm going to have to buy you a drink at the bar across the street. What? To make up for being late, of course.
Okay. I could use a good stiff drink.
Oh, allow me. A certain technique I learned after the 4th time that I was stuck in here. Gentle. Very gently. Not in any sort of panic. Now go on down to the bar across the street and I'll be down shortly to buy drinks.
Seems like I left my jacket record.
Seems like you did, Mr. Total. I'll be in the bar downstairs waiting.
Oh, when will I get my frowns?
We'll discuss it then.
Gently.
Riker, the door's locked again! Riker, let me out! Riker!
Getting trapped again, Mr. Total?
Seems so.
Must feel pretty good being rescued twice in one day. For all that talk about April Deacon, who was never rescued at all. How horrible that must have been for Mr. Deacon. Have to live with the thought of his only daughter, his only family at that point, being kidnapped, held ransom, paying off all of the ransom money and not even getting her back. It doesn't seem fair.
Yes, it's horrific.
Now, from what I understand, Mr. Deacon is rather obsessed with finding April's killer. He's already spent millions of dollars trying to find any bit of information, any motive that anyone could have had.
Why are you telling me all of this?
She was all that mattered to him, Mr. Tobel. He just wants to find the person who killed his daughter.
I can only imagine.
Oh, can you? Can you imagine, Mr. Tobel? Mr. Tobel, did you know that Frau refused to ever have his work displayed in Mexico? Political conflicts with the government, of
I
course.
didn't know that.
Okay. So why was it that your jacket was off and behind the chair? Taking out tools, perhaps? Looking at the clock, maybe?
That bozo over there, he had us convinced that clock on the desk was a bomb. I was just taking a look at it.
Yes.
Sure.
Maybe it was you were trying to defuse the bomb. Well, I wonder what Mr. Deacon might do with this kind of information.
Let me out of here, Riker. Let me out. Open up this door and let me out of here. Open up this door and let me out of here.
Very well, Mr. Togel. Very well. Oh, and by the way, your frowns. They'll be delivered in 3 to 5 days.
better story for me than a missing dog. And one named Plato, no less.
Come on, you were the one that happened thinking that this old clock was a bomb.
Listen, we're both brilliant. I mean, you had such an excellent idea of luring them all to Mexico with free trips and trying to tell them to get his hands on a crowd. It was simply pure genius.
Well, what can I say? You seem to bring out the best. The worst in me.
Oh, God, do you think they were scared?
I don't know about the rest of them, but you should have seen Togo just now. I mean, after today, he might actually think he did it.
Good. But we need more. All right, we are running out of leads to give you a coot.
Well, since I convinced Deacon to let me serve as the lead investigator, we can give him whatever information we need to keep him off of our scent.
You know, we could blackmail these idiots by telling them we'll expose their motives to Deacon.
Yeah, but we don't really...
Plus, we could continue to build Deacon for more expense money to find April's killers.
I mean, we could, but do we really need to bilk him for more? Between what we got for the ransom, what I'm getting for serving as a lead investigator, don't you think we have enough?
Oh, well, I guess I'm just a girl who likes the finer things in life. Thank you. No, I want as much as I can get out of that old bastard. I like the lifestyle we lead. I want to keep it.
What? Now you're starting to get just as greedy as April was.
Well, you know, it was a shame that poor little sweet April just didn't want to go through with the fake kidnapping and enjoy all this money with us.
She was starting to get a conscience
Jeff,
about everything that she did to her father,
Jeff,
all of those other people.
Jeff, she was going to turn us in. She was going to tell him everything.
I know that.
Okay, we could not have that. We had no choice but to let that bomb go off. Poor thing.
Welcome back from watching The Connection. Thank you so much. We have the entire cast here. Thank you so much for coming down. We have Mike Lachance, Randy Divinski, Cindy Bell, Stephanie Hopkins. We have Linda Slocum. Thank you so much for coming on down today. Oh, and
Joe.
and the, thank you.
I
Thank
don't know
you
why I
for-
sang that, but okay.
Good, I like it. See, it was the jingle at number 5 from,
That's right.
from the first show. We talked about that in the opening. So thank you so much for coming on down tonight from your busy summer schedules. So I want to thank you so much. We just watched the episode, the audience just watched it. Do you guys remember being in the show? It's been 2 months now.
It's a distant memory.
Barely.
Yeah.
They blocked it.
Now, some of you have got the DVD. Did anybody watch it yet?
Part of it.
You did? Okay, you did? What did you think?
It was good.
Yeah?
It's interesting to see it from that angle and to see it a couple months later as well.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. I watched it with my daughter.
And?
And it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I got to see things that I didn't get to see being on stage because, you know, you miss certain reactions that people have and whatever.
What was different?
Well, just that I could see people reacting to what I was saying and stuff that I didn't always get to see because people were behind me or whatever. So things like that.
And saw the rabbit ears.
Shadow puppets.
Cindy was always the one that kept us, during the rehearsals, laughing with your...
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. I'm really funny.
So that's good. So what did you, you just got your DVD.
I did.
Yep. I mailed yours. You got yours?
I've got mine. It takes me a while to,
That's
before I
okay.
like to look at
But
myself.
I watch that show every day. Actually.
I can see that, actually.
Yeah. It fills up my entire day.
So, Joe, I wanted to ask you, Connection. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you come up with the concept for that story?
Well, yeah, I didn't come up with the concept. There was a story from Graham Jones that was that I found. It was a story about people that were trapped in a room, and it was a little bit of a mystery, a couple of twists, and this character Riker came in, and I read through it, and we were trying to come up with some scenes for a mystery show, and I said, well, this could be really something that we could develop and work on, and I reached out to the author and I said, we're a community theater, and I was wondering if we could use your scene as a theme, but we're a very creative group and we want to kind of expand on it and change it. And he goes, if you pay me, I'll do anything you want, basically. Which was completely different than what we did the year before. We had Neil Simon and we couldn't change a word or line or anything in that. So it was very nice, and it was just more than just like, give me
Was
the
it
money.
more than $1 million though?
It was a little bit. I gave him drachmas, Greek drachmas, and lira monies, and he was all set.
Nice.
But now he was actually very open about that, and when I gave him back the script, he really liked it. He thought it was really a good story, and very pleased. And he wanted to
Which
get a copy.
version of the script?
I know.
did you see?
Yeah.
Version
Interesting.
97, the last one. So what I ended up doing is that after what we ended up filming, I actually watched the film, created the script of what that turned out to be, and sent that to him. And
Did
then
you send in the film as well?
what I had to do was I had to get his permission. We had to get his permission to film it.
Okay.
And then now that we just got the permission to air it, which is what we did today, so that'll be on
It's
TV.
another $1 million.
And now we're getting $1 million. Yeah.
Wow.
So well worth it.
Yeah.
But it was a theme. But this collective, wonderful group here contributed dramatically to each of their characters. So I think even though Graham wrote it, it was an idea that we started. They completed the wonderful picture. So I wanted to thank everybody up there for that wonderful experience.
You're welcome.
I mean, I think we were given sort of, some of us were given characters, and then some characters added to from
The characters that were in the
they were all in there,
the
right,
same
okay.
were all in
So
there.
we were given like a starting place and a situation, but then it sort of ended up unfolding in a different way. And we had to add things to our characters.
Your
including-
character, I think, really shifted with just like a line. I think really changed a lot of who your character turned out to be.
Which one?
Randy's.
No, I know, but was there a line? when you said-
It was your line. It was just like
Oh.
the others.
Oh,
yeah.
Adding that in all of a sudden, because before it was, maybe, he's also this innocent and he's been wrongly accused and everything, and then just adding that little twist in, it kind of, I think, drove all of us to make our backstories just that little bit more nefarious, and it's less, oh, these poor people who have been, toyed with by this character. It's more, oh, all of them are awful people. They're all not very good people.
Not very likable, right?
No.
Yeah.
Did you find your character likable?
I loved my character.
Why? What do you like about it?
What was your character again? What was the name of your character?
Harriet Katsky.
Yes.
My last name was Katsky.
Good.
Just so
Yes.
you know. Sometimes we got mixed up about that. Oh, no, I don't know if she was likable to the audience,
But no.
but why did you like? Because I thought she was strong and independent and smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like that.
definitely.
That's great. What'd you like about your character?
She's diabolical. And it's really, really fun because I only had maybe a page and a half of that version of that character, and then the whole rest of the show is this this even more pretend person that this character has created, and it was just really fun to really flesh out that ending scene first and really understand who that character is, and then kind of backtrack for, okay, then what characteristics would she choose to present herself as in order to elicit sympathy, but also to kind of just be in the background and be able to just observe everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes she just couldn't help herself, it seemed like, too.
You weren't doing what I wanted.
And what about you? Well, I like that my character was a very strong, protective mother. I can kind of identify with that, being a mother myself. So I liked that part of her. And I liked the interplay I had with his character because I decided that he reminded me a lot of my ex-husband. So I threw a lot of my
Your ex-husband in the show.
yes,
Not
my
in
ex-husband.
real life.
No, not in real life.
Oh,
Just I wanted to clarify that because
In
I
the
think
show,
I knew
yes.
you were thinking the other, the ex-husband
Yeah.
of the show.
Glad
Yeah.
you clarified that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Randy?
I get to start out the show, so that's nice to set the scene and to react to everybody as they come in. And I think I try to be a sympathetic character even while being annoying in certain ways. And then the middle scenes, it was, for whatever reason, my character mostly, I think, gets along with people and tries to, except for Toggle. They just instantly dislike each other.
Yeah.
And that was always fun to like sort of play off that dislike. They're always pointing out what the other person did wrong, or you know, Toggle's trying to accuse everyone else, and I'm making sure that he's under suspicion as well. And so I just try to figure out what my character's up to, and we worked on, you know, different ways of, you know, there's things he has to do too, and just sort of figuring out sort of kind of ticks and or just compulsions that he has in order to get him to where he needs to be. And
Mike?
Riker is powerful, not in a violent way or any kind of physical way, but his power lied in his choice of words and his tone. And he would, you know, flip, you know, turn one light off and turn another light on just with those words and that tone, and that was really fun to play. There was like 5 different Rikers that kind of got rotated through. So that was
sort of helped make it sort of who really is the villain in this.
right.
Right.
And,
Oh,
and you know, in a way,
Just
I
in
got
case
to
you
play
forgot.
like almost like sub characters.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
get to play very business-like Riker, but then later I get to play kind of like interrogator Riker, and then you know, romantic Riker. There's just a lot to work with, so that was a lot of fun.
A lot of Rikers in a short amount of time, because you were
Yeah.
on there in the
half the
scene
show,
until
right.
half the show.
Right.
And he was at every single rehearsal, every single time watching.
Standing in the
Standing in the
closet.
closet,
Yeah.
just waiting to come out with his briefcase.
Once in a while we locked him in, but not too often.
Just for
Just for
for
fun.
that reality purpose.
Actually, I was looking through the hole up in the ceiling.
Oh, that's a different story.
So how is it for you
That
as
was
an
him.
actor and a director of that?
Well, I take I give this cast a lot of credit for adapting to that. It wasn't originally intended that way, but I look back at some of the scenes that everybody contributed to. I really do feel this is a very collective directorial thing, even though the name was there. I think I've said it in the past in other interviews, that this cast, to me, was the reason that this was a successful thing, not the writing or the directing. It's what they contributed to it. You know, Cindy came up a lot of times with different suggestions and different things. Mike did, Randy did. Everybody came up with suggestions on some things. So they helped me get through this. It wasn't ideal to be on the stage there, but when I was there, I thoroughly enjoyed being on there with this great cast, dealing, you know, the interactions that I had with you, obviously with you, and I noticed that during the scenes that my interactions with the ladies of the show were only derogatory. So he was not a very nice person. Everything anybody has ever said was like, dog? What kind of dog? And like, what kind of stupid idea is that? And why don't you do them? Like, my interactions with the ladies was very negative. And even when I
Of
talked
course, it was
I was
really
just gonna
positive
say.
with the guys.
it was positive. It was well, maybe it's not gender specific. Maybe I gotta think deeper.
I think it was more dismissive with the women
Yeah.
than with
Yeah.
the men. You were
Yeah.
more engaged with the men,
Yeah.
but you weren't nice.
You didn't
and
even know I was
Dismissive.
behind you the first.
It's like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Dog? What kind of dog? You're here for a dog? So, but I just found, no, just back to the direct, I think they contributed more than I could collectively. So. But it was a great time to be with Toggle,
Great.
So what's okay, you got something?
No, well, I was just going to ask, how many of you have been in an ACD production prior to this, or no?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Which one was
I
that?
was actually in the previous one, Dinner Conversations.
Oh, okay.
So, which was also a ensemble piece, and I played the same character through several different scenes. They were all set in a restaurant, so that was really a lot of fun. And that's when I got to work with Joe
Yeah.
in most of my scenes.
Yeah, so for the pie throwing one, which
Yes, yeah, you weren't in that one.
really good.
That one was fun.
3 pies?
3 pies.
3 pies in one scene.
Yes.
Oh.
9
my
pies
gosh.
through the run of the show.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Plus rehearsals.
Plus
In whose face?
Bunny Porter.
Yes.
Ronnie
Really?
Porter played
Yes.
the
Luckily,
writer
Ronnie
of
Porter
the.
loves me, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
What kind
She
of
was
art?
very,
Whipped cream.
just whipped cream.
Very
Yeah.
fun. So for the first timers then, what was your experience like being in an ACT production?
I was really impressed with the sort of collaborative process that it became. I'm sort of used to the idea that you get a script and those are your lines and you figure it out, even if the line doesn't seem to make sense with how you understand a character, you just do it and you make it work. But here it was really, it wasn't just, hey, I have an idea. It was put out right away. If you think something's different, tell me. If something else comes out of your mouth and it feels right, say that instead. It really allowed us, I think, to really develop our characters on our own time and to figure out how they interact with each other. And in a way, it almost started to feel a little bit like improv at times because you knew sort of the beats you needed to hit. And I think it really helped with the memorization process too, because the words that came out of my mouth felt authentic. And it didn't feel like I was trying to remember words on a page, but it just made sense with what this person would say. So that was very unique.
I think it was definitely an environment where we all felt comfortable bringing ideas to the table, whether or not they ended up being used, and that was nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Oh, so what's everybody working on now? Is anybody working on it? Randy, what's your next project? I heard something about a film.
Well, it's actually an old, I did the filming like 2 summers ago actually, but the film is now being released. It's an independent film called Russian Doll.
Russian Doll.
And it's sort of a thriller. It's a detective thing, and I just have a small scene in it, but it's I get to play a kind of a law and order scene. I'm a part of a married couple whose daughter is involved in the case, and the detectives are interviewing us. And it was a first movie experience, so it was really interesting to deal with the cameras and shooting the same thing 3 times in quick succession with just 3 hours beforehand, and only 3 hours because you're waiting for the previous scene to get done, and all the things that go into a production. I learned an awful lot about it, and we've been waiting to see whether it would come out and when it would come out and so on. So it's actually premiering tomorrow in a film festival in North Carolina.
Are you going to go?
Not to North Carolina, but then the follow-up screening will be in mid-September in Worcester. There's a film festival in Worcester.
Well, that's great.
So you'll send us the information.
I'll let people know on
Yeah,
Facebook.
let us know. If you know when that is, let us know. We can add it to the scroll on the bottom of
And it's going to be the Hanover Theater, which is like a pretty big
wow.
space in Worcester.
nice
So
space.
Please let us know.
so-
I'd love to come out and see it. That'd be great.
That's fun.
And then I'm also actually doing locally, my next actual project will be in the ensemble of a musical called Blood Brothers, and that's going to be in Canton. Yeah.
When's that going to be?
It'll go up at the end of October, early November.
Nice.
Yeah, last week of October and first weekend of November. And it's a pretty serious
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
So.
Anybody else working on anything that's coming up? Cindy?
I have a couple things.
Great.
So I'm directing The Queen of Bingo, which is a story of 2 sisters, one night at bingo, and sort of the unfolding of all of their issues and their history together, and some resolution of the things that they're struggling with. So, and the audience gets to play bingo right
Oh,
before
really?
intermission. That we hand out those the paper bingo things and the
The
daubers.
blotters, the daubers, yeah.
Well, they're expensive, so I'll have to
Yeah.
see if we do daubers or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so they play a game of bingo, cover all 1 full card.
Oh, wow.
That's so
And
so
where is
it'll be
this
fun.
going to be going up?
That's in Sturbridge at Stage Loft.
Nice.
And then in about the same time you go up, I'm in the Savannah Sipping Society, which is a Southern play at the Walpole Footlighters.
Oh, nice.
great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Great. Anybody else in anything or trying?
I'm taking the summer off.
Taking the summer off. Yeah, that's what I did. You doing anything this?
I'm taking a summer off as
Yeah.
well.
I took.
Although I wrote a little script, we talked about that
Yes,
earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot, I think people contributed to, I got something from Mike and some other people who were contributing to the Gate 19 show.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so we're in the midst of going through the finalization of that, and then we'll go to open call in September. So hopefully you guys can maybe try to come out for it. So, yeah. Question for you. How does it feel being the co-host in the number 5? Jingle at number 5.
Number 1 in your hearts. This is what my
You keep
new
saying that
tagline
all the
is.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Here
How
all
does it
week.
feel being interviewing people?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fun.
So you basically and Katie going to kick me out next time?
Duke it out now.
So we got a couple more questions before we wrap up. One is we had some feedback from the EMACT Dash group, and they came back and said that they would have thought it would have been nice to have the scene done in more of a confined space, meaning a tighter space, sort of like the way we rehearsed here in Wacka versus on stage. What do you guys think of that concept, that theory? Think it would make sense? Would it have worked? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would have made sense to. I know that the energy that we had rehearsing in this space was really heightened because you were just, bumping into each other and you're in an uncomfortable situation with complete strangers. And obviously when you have a really long stage like that, you have to block for the stage that you're on. And so you the characters are able to actually sort of retreat from each other. And I think I agree that maybe some of the tension and the uncomfortableness might have been sort of carried through a little bit more if, you're being interrogated by someone or you're being accused of something and you really can't go to the other side of a large room, but you only have the small space that you're in to react to. So I think that's a really valid comment for that.
Because I was thinking about potentially filming that maybe in the studio and it being in a tighter space. So if we get through that, I'll be calling you guys up and trying. And that's different, as Randy can attest to. It's a different feeling. Like, unfortunately, with we could film a lot of it without Riker, right? He doesn't need to technically be here for a lot of time. We can get a lot of that stuff done. So, but,
I liked him in the closet.
He should be there anyway, just so that, to keep the idea going that are being watched.
I think you might be right. We'll just lock him in there.
Does that work for you?
I think playing Riker in the film version would almost be like a more natural inclination because one of my notes that I gave myself was that I would trail off on certain lines, I wasn't maybe projecting as much as I was directed to. So with film, you don't have to worry about that as much, and you can use more of those, there's more flexibility and more variety with tone of voice and volume.
Yeah, I know that was a common note for our scene was that our voices were a little bit muted. And it's hard because you're playing a very sort of intimate scene, and it's a very intense scene.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit. I don't want to burst your eardrum projecting right next to your head.
Yeah.
Wow, you really look sexy.
But yeah, I think that scene in particular, I think would be really interesting to see on film because you can also just by being able to also play with the perspectives of being able to actually move a camera around and being able to hone in on particular things and, maybe being able to see really tight close-ups of your reaction and response to the sort of mad ramblings of this woman you've tied yourself up with.
and what I love about the film versions of things is the reactionary of the other characters listening to somebody say something. So you don't always have to be on. I always thought when you did, my first thing I did, I thought you always have to be filming the person speaking. It's actually the opposite. You want to be filming the other people's reactions to that person speaking at times.
Yeah.
So you want to get that combination. So there was so many things that were going on stage that other people could see. And if you're talking about it being a mystery, and you can give people more when they say, why didn't you have a cell phone? We could look at it and then you could be a little bit different than, why didn't you have that? I never could figure out why that was even a plot part, but.
Right, and you
Red
can
herrings.
It was a long ago one that
so
just
you,
stayed in.
with film you could call attention to that just with a shot where they actually show her with her cell phone, and that's all you see. Whereas if she maybe had a cell phone in her pocket, someone in the audience may have seen it, but maybe not 100%. And then later she says she forgot it.
Yep.
But in the film version, you'd remember.
You remember it.
You
and
definitely
you
saw the
definitely
cell
see
phone.
that, yeah.
So it creates a different kind of mystery and
Yep.
tension.
Great, yeah, that would be very interesting.
Favorite one.
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So, what was your favorite line in the play? And to say, what was it to say?
Oh, mine was, do you think they were scared? It tells everything about that character, because she's not thinking about, did we get the information? This isn't just a task to get something done. This is fun. She enjoyed it, and she wants to hear from somebody else. You know, this is validation that she was able to really manipulate and mess with some people.
Yeah.
So it just, it gives this little extra twist that it's not just goal oriented, but she might actually just be a psychopath.
You like playing the psychopath.
It is really
She blossomed.
Well, so the thing of it is when I got the revised script and you said that you wanted me to play Patricia, I had read through, but not to the end. And I emailed back and said, yeah, I really like what you've done with the character, and sent it. And then I was reading it with my mother at the time, and she and I were reading it together, and I'm reading it, and I get to that last scene, I'm jump out of my chair, and I'm like, what? What did I just sign up for? But it was so exciting, because I'm reading through it, and I had no idea that that was coming, and it was just I got goosebumps, the idea of being able to play such a polarizing character.
Because the original part of the story, I don't know if you they know it, was we did the reading, we ran through the whole thing. Stephanie came in and read for it, and I said, okay, I got to do more with this character, right? In my mind, I'm like, I got to change this, and that's what came into my mind. I said, let her be the plant for the whole thing going on, and at the end, she became the Riker thing. It was originally supposed to be Riker goes in, leaves the bomb ticking off, leaves Toggle in the room, and it explodes, and Toggle dies there. And that could have worked, and I think it might have worked as well, but I feel that what we did as a team collectively changed that to the ending, made that switch. And a lot of people some people said there was something with you, they couldn't figure it out, they thought you might have been it, they definitely thought
they thought you were April.
They thought, a lot of people thought you were April, a lot of people thought you were part, there was something wrong in there. Everyone thought Toggle was just a blah, blah, blah. But,
What's your favorite line
Mine?
to say?
There's two of them. Shut up! Shut up! And then, that is the stupidest idea I have ever heard. Those two.
I wonder why.
I don't know. And you know, they came both so naturally to me.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't even have to rehearse them.
Yeah, it was just coming right out. Cindy, what about you?
I think mine was something like, who knows, maybe I'll come into another windfall, because I think that showed, again, that little piece of maybe there's not so much innocence here. And I like that twist.
Which, by the way, you contributed.
I did.
Yes, that's
Maybe that's what I like.
I have a question, but not the
My favorite line was, what part of not talking about it anymore didn't you understand? Because I got to finally take it out on you, that you were getting on my nerves.
And I think you and I talked about that line too. Randy?
Yeah, it was always fun to set that up too, and then not to give it away. I think I had a kind of line that sort of evolved out of it, which was the, what I need to know is, and then I would ask something, and you would always be reacting like, shut up too. And I mean the same. We have a scene that's similar to that, of where I'm asking about, well, why is that clock ticking, or so on, or why is we want to know about the kidnapping, and you're like, no, stop talking about it. And so my character's penchant was always to just open up the can of worms that nobody else wants opened, and that he shouldn't want
But that
opened
didn't
either.
really need
but
to
he
be
just doesn't.
opened.
He doesn't have the self-reflectiveness about. He has to go there, even if it's not in his own interest.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way. That was very.
Right.
Mike?
I think if you asked me this question before we did it in front of a live audience, I would have picked a different line.
Oh, really? Interesting.
But one of the lines that we improv'd again was when I incredulously put my hands on the desk and say, oh my God, this is what you've been doing the whole. And I think it's my favorite because like the first time we had an audience, they just burst out in laughter, and it didn't let the scene take itself too seriously, and it definitely, I don't know, it allowed the cast to pivot more into the, oh, we were overreacting,
Exactly.
like we just got such a reaction out of that.
It really flipped that, because we were struggling to say, how do we go back to this laughter now? We would see all that tenseness, you really broke it back. Yeah. What was it before that line?
Yeah.
Curious.
Maybe one of my lines with you as Toggle towards the end, like where I, stroking my beard, like, did you know that Frau refused to ever have his work displayed in Mexico?
It's so
Political
good.
conflicts with the government, of course. Very
It's
like,
such a, oh, you
he's
got
very
it.
much on the high ground. He's just
Yeah.
kind of like pawing around, like, manipulative
It's
stuff.
great.
Yeah, love it.
So one last question before we go. I mentioned how collaborative everything was, and I know in my mind, what do you feel you contributed to this production that you think that is your stamp on it? Because I know you all have, and you've brought something to either the scene, the character, or a combination. I don't know if anybody, if you don't have something that you can think of off the top of your head, I know what they are for each of you, but what do you think you contributed to?
As an actor, and this being one of my first times doing acting like in a show in some years, I was very focused on trying to make my character's physical tendencies as realistic as possible. And I feel like that was kind of something I was always, at least for myself, looking out for, like, so that it just felt natural.
Something, I don't think it's really the most important thing, but it's something that I think is interesting and fun about acting, and we had done the scene the same way like 100 times, where I started by coming in through the door, and we just kept doing it was just the way it was done from the very beginning, and then one day, just driving here stuck in traffic, I said, well, what if he's already in the office? And because later on somebody else was already commenting about, you were the first one here, so it could have been you. And so that even it did two things. It shifted, it kept the repetitiveness of the office of coming through the door. It mixed that up a little bit, but it also created this extra seed of doubt of, well, because he's already there, you maybe he's there looking, but maybe he's also setting something up. It just created an extra seed of doubt. And it's just a small idea, but we had done it a completely different way. And when we did that and changed that, I thought it just, it changed the opening around it in a way that really worked, and just, I don't know, it's like, why didn't we do that? Why wasn't it like that the whole time?
So that was one of the two that I thought of with you, with that one, and the fact that we worked out, how do we, get you and I into each other's faces, and we did that very well over the desks. And I think we both thought about how do we do that without, because not attacking each other, but the desk was the barrier between us. And I thought that your idea with that, making sure the desk be part, that was as well. And with you, I'm just going to go back, was the combination of the adding those words in to get that levity back in really changed it. You had to change that scene many different times on your own. You had to get the tension in, you had to get levity in, you had to get tension back in, you had to let us down again about, take you for a drink. Then you had her, so you really had it up and down, so you brought a lot of those great suggestions.
I think just trying to make it believable that my character actually could be suspected of killing April, having to work in that, okay, I am so protective of my daughter that I really could kill somebody to protect her if she's being bullied, so I think that.
Didn't you bring in the struck her, hit her line?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say that, it's a difference. And I think we sit next to each other, what's the difference? What's this? But I think that it distinguishes you as a mother, and I think you brought that character out as a mom. Like, you came across as a mom, and I think the audience felt that if my daughter was like in that situation, I would do what I need to do.
I feel like maybe our scene with Riker was just because we were here before and oftentimes also after working on just this page and a half of dialogue, but the dynamic between those characters really shifted and our backstory really fleshed out. It was super complicated and very modern and hip. But I feel like, yeah, it kind of, those characters really sort of, it gave all this sort of this little extra layer to them at the end there, which was really interesting. They're characters that I would like to follow and see sort of what happens next with them, because there's a lot there.
You brought the sweater, you brought the book, you brought the glasses, you brought the nerdiness in there, and then I think you brought the new.
Yeah, that costume was fun.
Yeah.
You told me red
Yep.
and something that would be a surprise.
Surprise when and there was,
Yeah.
when people came back in,
That was
they
fun.
were like, oh!
It was such, especially after the first night getting the reaction, it took so much effort to not just be like, yes, just like play into it. I had to still keep it like somewhat in reality.
Yeah. Cindy?
I thought a lot about how to make the characters, each one of them a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was I tried to bring that into the writing, because I wanted the audience to not just think Toggle.
Right.
And I wanted the audience to really kind of, I just think that's more interesting and more fun for them when they're guessing. So, and I think as a result of that, it did bring in a little bit of our darker sides, which I liked.
I think a lot of the darkness really kind of
Yeah.
came out of some of, because it was just these
dark.
little, there's just little lines of, well, but then what if they said this? And it was just that enough to be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I
Just
had
made you
some
think.
sympathy,
Yeah.
but then, ooh, okay.
Yeah. And I think I brought a director's eye to some of it.
I was going to say that one of the things that you helped me with tremendously is, looking at some things that were going on stage that I couldn't see that you were able to see, especially their last scene. I think their last scene was I loved that part so much because it was the ending. That was we want to make the audience really buy it, and the way they were even sitting and standing, we kept going back and forth and looking at how they do it. So I really appreciate all of your contributions and help there on that. So everybody, once again, it was a great cast.
It's great, guys.
Great show. I miss it. I miss working with you, and that's why I keep trying to keep these things alive.
And can I also say that you're very modest, so I don't know if you really are in real life, but you have been in this.
I joke around. I
modest
play
as
modest.
well, yeah.
But I was going to say, I mean, I think you did set the tone for people feeling comfortable to bring things in. You really invited us to be part of this process. I think you left your own ego outside the door, which was really nice, so that we never felt like we were, going to step on toes or anything like that. But you also reacted honestly to things, and I think that allowed this process to happen. So
Well,
I
thank you.
thank you for
Thank
that.
you. And that's what I think ACT is about. What we try to do is put on a good show, entertain the audience, but also make it a really good, collaborative, fun experience for the participants. Because if we do that, everybody wins, right? The audience gets a good product, the actors are happy. Hopefully you guys will come back in another production that we do, sometime direct, write, act. And so I think if you create that environment, keep that environment, wonderful people like yourselves and others will be coming back and coming to see our shows. So thank you so much for a lot of things, being great casts, but coming down tonight on this nice summer night. And thank you coming down for co-hosting and for Katie. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And we'll be back next month for the next episode of Behind the Curtain, the cast of The Connection. Thank you again.
Thank you.